Perform the indicated operation, then use a calculator to check your work. So in these two examples, notice that our operations are different. The first example has multiplication for the operation, and our second example has division, so we'll have to be careful of that. We also want to notice that we have fractions being multiplied by whole numbers. So whenever we're in a situation where we have fractions and whole numbers that are working together with an operation, what we typically want to do is to go ahead and change the whole number into fraction form. And we're going to do that by putting a 1 underneath it. So our first example, we're going to take 1/4 and we're going to multiply that not by just 12, but we're going to write that as 12/1. That allows us to clearly see what our numerator is and what our denominator is. And so now we can go ahead and proceed with our multiplication process. Notice that we've got a common factor of 4 between the 4 and the 12, so I'm going to rewrite 12 as 4 times 3, and I'm going to rewrite 4 as 4 times 1. So I can go ahead and I can cancel out my 4's. That 4/4 equals 1. And when we do that and we come back and do our multiplying, 1 times 3 is 3 for my numerator. And in my denominator, 1 times 1 is just 1. Now this is an example where we can simplify this one final step. We always want to be sure our answer is in its simplest form. And 3/1, there's absolutely no reason to leave a 1 in the denominator of a final answer. Sometimes we need a 1 in the denominator to work a process, but for our final answer, 3/1 is just the same as 3. So we want to go ahead and write our final answer as 3. In our second example, we again have a fraction and a whole number working together, so we want to start off by writing the whole number in fraction form. So we're going to have 5/9, and I'm going to just go ahead and leave the division for right now and just take a step to write that 10 as 10/1. Now that everything's in fraction form, I can go ahead and change the division to a multiplication. 5/9, and remember we talked about what happens with division, that the division becomes multiplying, and we multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to multiply that by 1/10. And when we come in now to do the multiplying, we can see that we've got a common factor of 5. So 10 is 5 times 2, and 5 is 5 times 1. And we cancel out those 5's. We're left with 1 times 1 equals 1 for my numerator. 9 times 2 is 18 for the denominator. Now this we would want to be careful not to want to change this to 18. Notice that the 1 is in the numerator here. 1/18 is not the same as 18, so this we want to go ahead and leave in this form. But 3/1, that's the same thing as 3. Let's use our calculator to check our work here. So let me pull up our calculator, and let me clear this out and get this in a good position for us. So we're going to take 1/4 times 12. So remember to use your fraction key here to enter in your fractions. 1 fraction key 4. So there's 1/4, and we're going to multiply that by 12. And when we do that, we see, yep, our answer is correct. We have that answer of 3 that matches. Now let's go ahead and do the second one. The second one was 5/9 divided by 10. So 5 fraction key 9. We're going to divide that now by 10, and when we enter, we get 1/18, which is exactly what we came up with when we worked it by hand.